What is up, you guys? We're back for another video. If you guys notice, we are not outside today. And the reason is because I got a lot of really great feedback from you guys on the quarantine backyard bird photography video. So I wanted to give you guys an update. And one of the main reasons is if you guys watched original version part 1, this is part 2. If you haven't, go back and watch part 1. But in part 1, when we were actually shooting out here in our backyard, we had our resident Phoebes that come to our yard pretty much every spring. And they make a nest underneath our porch. And this year, they were just building that nest. And you could see the mom was like kind of compacting it. And I wasn't even sure if she had laid eggs yet. Well, those eggs have officially hatched and are now babies, like big baby birds, and they are at the point where they are about to leave the nest. So I really wanted to make this video for you guys so you could see them as they've all grown up. She had 5 this year, guys, 5 babies, and I wanted you guys to see them before they left. So I hope you guys enjoy this part 2. Thank you so much for all the support you guys gave part 1. So let me get some shots for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. It's really funny because these birds have gotten they've grown up really fast. If you're from New Mexico, then comment down below. I always like to meet the New Mexicans that come and watch my videos because that's my home state. So if you're from New Mexico, you know that this past month, we had a moth explosion. Miller moths, I believe is what they were. But we had a moth explosion here in New Mexico. And they were literally everywhere for the past week. Every single morning I wake up and I turn off the back porch light and there's just moths all along our wall. And these guys have basically just grown up on that massive wave of bird food that hit New Mexico. The parents literally have just been feeding these guys moth after moth after moth, day in and day out. They feed them from sunrise to sunset. If you're sitting out here, you will not see them stop hunting. And I think that's why they have grown up so fast. They have literally seen them grow up in the span of like 2-3 weeks. It feels like they've grown up so fast. But I think partially it is the fact that they have been so much food, like they've had so much food given to them by their parents. They're at the point now where you can see in some of these little clips, they all five can't even fit in the nest anymore. Like one of them has to sit outside the nest, and like one of them has like standing on the other one as he's trying to get his wings ready to get ready to leave and fledge. So they're at the point now where they're about to leave. They'll probably stay in the yard. All the babies in the past have stayed in the yard. Their parents still feed them for another week or two. But once they start to learn how to like fly long distances by themselves, there's usually only a couple more days and then we don't see them anymore. And then the parents will just come back next year. So I really wanted to make sure you guys were able to see this kind of whole process for the people that really had interest in it in the last video before they left, because they were right at that stage where they're gonna be leaving here pretty soon. So let me get some more video and try to get some video of the parents as they come in and come out with food so you guys can see. They look like they're ready to leave. They might not like leave, but leave the nest. Alright guys, interesting enough, as we were sitting here and we were actually trying to photograph the parents of those Phoebes we were just talking about, I noticed a hummingbird that was coming to our backyard a couple days ago. And I'll show him to you here in a second because I got some clips of him in our little pinon tree back there. But I was noticing some like behavior that he was doing that I've seen before. And what they do is they kind of like, whenever hummingbirds kind of find a spot in a yard or by a feeder or in the wild that they really know is a good area, when they choose to nest there, they're really defensive of it. And other hummingbirds are really defensive of that spot as well. So they kind of like fight over good pieces of, you know, area or good pieces of land or good spots to raise young that have food sources nearby. Now we have a honeysuckle bush in our backyard, and the hummingbird was doing the exact same thing that I've seen them do whenever there's another hummingbird nearby, but he was aiming right for the bush. So he would go vroom, 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 and he would kind of just like dive bomb the bush. And I was like, surely there has to be another hummingbird like in that bush. And sure enough, I can look close and I could see that there was a female hummingbird hiding in between our rose bush and our honeysuckle bush. So I'm willing to bet that she has laid an egg on a nest inside of our bush. And I want to go out and check just to be sure, because that would be really cool. Like we're here sitting looking at, you know, these 5 baby birds making this video, and we find out that there might be a hummingbird nest too in our backyard. So I'm gonna go look real quick and see what he is doing, because he has not left that spot alone. Every 2 minutes he is coming back and he is just dive bombing that spot. And I actually saw her for a brief second, so I know she's in there. And the only reason I can imagine her staying in there is because she has a nest. So we're gonna go over there and use the 400mm to stay far away, but still see if we can't see what she's doing. All right, let's go look. Well, we went out there, you guys, and I looked and looked and looked. I know for a fact she's in there because whenever he was dive bombing it, I saw her fly kind of like down out of the bush and then fly back up into it. But our honeysuckle bush is so big and so thick. Like if you have a honeysuckle bush, you know what I mean? They're very, very dense. So I'm guessing she's probably nested at the very back of that bush and is just staying inside of it away from the other birds. So I know she's in there, but we don't know where her nest is. I'll keep you guys posted if he comes back and can kind of give me a better idea of where she's at. But that's cool. That's cool to think that there's a hummingbird nesting in that bush right over there. I have to be real careful when I water it now that I know that. But very interesting. Cool. I wish we could have seen her, but it's probably for the best we just leave her alone. So let's get back to these baby birds. Well, that's really cool. I was hoping those quail would come into the yard so you guys could see them. We got some cool video of them. I put out a new like little feeder area for the birds in my backyard. It's kind of like a hollow, like rotted out log that I found on one of my hiking trips. It's all covered in moss. It's really cool. I just put bird seed in there, and the birds kind of tend to enjoy that feeder more than like your conventional feeder that you put in a tree, especially the quail, because quail are mainly ground birds, so they really enjoy it, and they come to the yard almost every other hour, really. I mean, you can hear them right now, they're still out there, but they're here all the time, just eating out of that thing, so I was hoping they'd come and you guys could see them. Another really interesting thing is, if you guys notice, I'll record now to show you, there's 2 birds out of the nest now, whereas when we first started recording, there was only 1 that was out of the nest. Now there's 2, and they're actually perching really, really close to the edge of like the porch. I'm a little worried for them, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm honestly thinking that they might like come out of that big. There's one that's a little bit bigger than the others. You can tell it gets fed really, really well by the parents. I mean, they all do, they're all looking really good, but there's one that is like, he looks like a more mature bird compared to the other ones, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he came out of the nest today while we're recording this video, but it's going to be interesting to see. So I'll keep recording and we'll see what happens here. a lot of cool stuff happening we're expecting. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Seeing those Phoebes all grown up was really, really cool. Seeing those quail come to the yard and just mess around, dig around was really awesome too. We're going to end it right here, you guys. I'm definitely going to keep a really, really close eye on these guys over the next probably like 48 to 72 hours to see if they leave the nest, because I want to record that for you guys, for those of you guys who were really interested in it before in the first video. So this is it, guys. Thanks again for watching. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. Consider keeping up with these guys and everything else that I do. I go all over the state, all over the US when I can. So as always, thank you so much for all your guys' support, and I'll see you in the next one.